professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. So we had the potential merger between Spirit and Frontier. Earlier this year, Spirit and JetBlue, they wanted to merge together. Of course, the DOJ blocking that deal, said it would be anti-competitive. What is going to happen right now with Spirit? I mean, this was the budget airline, and now that could go away.
When you look at this market, which is the ultra low-cost airlines, you start to wonder whether they could actually survive. Whether it's Spirit or Frontier or JetBlue, when you are charging that low of prices to the consumer, I mean, we already know that airlines have struggled for years in many different areas, so it's quite a challenge. So what is Spirit left with? I think they're left with layoffs. I think there's going to be less flights, and I think that they're going to have to sell off planes in order to survive. If they could even survive, Alex.
Yeah, I believe they were already trying to sell off planes, and we actually reported yesterday that Spirit has already started to cut 24 different routes between Nashville and Los Angeles and beyond, so it's already kind of starting exactly what you were just mentioning, Dan. Okay, so Jeep announcing it's now slashing the prices on several of its Grand Cherokee models as it deals with slow sales. So the price drop, seeing some models drop as much as $4,000. You know, Dan, we see the price of car insurance skyrocketing. People cannot afford vehicles anymore. Do you think that Jeep's strategy is going to work?
Well, they really have a challenge here. And here's a typical scenario of supply and demand. They have a lot of supply. The demand is not there. So what happens? The prices are going to come down. So there are going to be some opportunities for consumers here. But keep in mind that carrying inventory, particularly in the automobile industry, is very, very expensive. So Jeep is going to have to move these trucks as quickly as they can. And here's what I would say. Beyond 2025, perhaps Jeep needs a makeover. What do people want? It's certainly not what they're putting out there right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right, Dan. But one company that's actually seeing some success is Home Depot, which is reporting hurricane repairs have been driving customers to its stores over the past few months. But despite the surge, the hardware store is expecting a small decline in sales for its 8th consecutive quarter. You know, Dan, at the beginning of the year, they actually lowered their sales expectations, and clearly Home Depot's business is closely tied with the housing market. Do you think we'll see things turn around for Home Depot anytime soon?
Well, I think there could be opportunities for Home Depot here. Now, look, when there are natural disasters, yes, Home Depot does very well, but that's not necessarily a good business plan. Inflation has really, really hurt Home Depot because people are not making those improvements now. What could happen here, if the housing market improves and you start to see some movement, you could see people then doing more improvements to their homes, which is really the core of what Home Depot services. So I think they do have a chance to do better in the coming months and years.
Yeah, let's hope so, Dan. Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, everyone.